What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I'm going to talk to you about Lucid. Give you a quick overview of some of the current data points, what's been coming out associated to Lucid itself, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did do fairly well. It flexed its strength. It had a high of 258, a fair amount of volume. So 19.8 million shares being traded. 23 is the average. So it closed 1.63% in the green. So I think overall, fairly good stuff. It did piggyback somewhat off of Tesla in some regard, but just generally the broader market was rallying today. No official news, no SEC filings whatsoever. Unofficially, there was this that was floating around. So the Saudi foreign minister clearly drives a Lucid. So it just shows the PIF and just Saudi Arabia's commitment to Lucid, bigger picture, which I think generally a lot of us did know. And so, yeah, I think that's a fairly good thing. They did meet with, I believe, it says right here, the Jordanian and Egyptian foreign ministers. I believe they also met with the French minister, because I did see some videos floating around about that. But still, beside the point, once again, it kind of shows the PIF's commitment. And I think with this being kind of floating around today, a lot of people are looking at Lucid's expansion. So I did see some chatter about how Lucid does need to really move into the Chinese market. So once again, going back over here, I've said this time and time again, it is not too late to really pose good questions, but the top questions right now, we will not get that answered if they still do intend on kind of entering into the Chinese market. What is that whole jobs that is being created out in South Korea? Is that AMP3? Because I remember back in the day, they did say that they were wanting to be in China by mid-decade. And so far, I think they're a little bit delayed on their original projections on every single front. So it is fair to assume maybe by 2026 that they would be in China. That is something that it'd be nice for us to hear, because as I've brought up in the past, like Tesla's earnings, their actual numbers, they were crap. And the market forgave that because they had very good future guidance. This is Lucid's opportunity. I think based on all the metrics, they still will have burnt through a lot of money as well. Just their metrics itself, like earnings per share and revenue, it's going to be lackluster. So I think in reality, 2024, especially for growth stocks, it is future guidance. That is what is really going to drive the broader market. Even though a lot of it is going to be speculative, because a lot of things are going to be, we plan on doing this, we plan on doing that, similar to what Tesla said, right? Like they won't be able to answer on for the earnings call, like if they're going to be profitable by X date. They don't know that yet. Even a lot of companies that estimate to be profitable next year in 2025, they don't have a definitive quarter. They just said sometime in 2025. And I believe that was Polestar or NIO did say that it was supposed to be in 2025, if I remember correctly. But still, these questions I'm not really impressed with. So hopefully they do change leading into their upcoming earnings, but we'll just have to wait and see. As of today, though, there has been a lot of attention coming from big money. So based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, over the last several trading days, you do see a lot of buying that's been happening. So I think that's overall good. It is still on larger institutions' radar. So 1.3 million right here. So only one big one today, and then one on Friday. So 1.47. Dark pool, a little bit more popular, as you can kind of see, and that is linked to shorting. Shorts surprisingly didn't do all that much. They increased 255,000 shares. So that's kind of a drop in the bucket, considering 272.12 million shares overall are being shorted. 30.72% of the free float is being shorted. Utilization is 100%. And then short score is 95.84. Cost to borrow average has jumped up pretty significantly. So 170.33%. So that could have some repercussions down the line if Lucid does continue its positive momentum and does go up. You will see some short close out the positions, not a short squeeze, but you will naturally just see just mitigation of risk, right? So shorts leaving on their own accord. So pretty interesting stuff. As of late, the technicals are looking a little bit more optimistic. So based on the Elliott wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $2.26. So for as long as Lucid is above that, which right now it is anticipated to kind of hit the $3 range. So I think that's generally good. It does mimic exactly what the options is saying as well. So I'll touch all about that. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings. The last one was still done 10 days ago. pretty much what I brought up in my last video. And as well, I have been monitoring to see any changes for estimates for earnings per share, revenue, and so far nothing. So this might be the final kind of numbers essentially leading into their upcoming earnings. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And aside from that, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as everything I mentioned, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all this to be completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. And actually, while I'm on here, again, I have brought this up in the past, but just in case you guys haven't seen that video, fair market value does show at $4.39, and that is based on the latest Morningstar report. But getting right back to it, talking on options. So looking at options, $408,000 in calls, 183 in puts. So dollar value wise, not so much getting in today. So kind of a change of events. Normally you see a lot of money getting into options, not necessarily common stock. Today seems to be inverse, but 46% of all the options being done today were optimistic. And of the call options that were purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $3, and even encumbering their earnings. So the week of May the 10th, you do see it more so around the 350 range. Oddly, you do see some today that was purchased around the 550, so that's kind of ironic. So maybe they're anticipating something very, very positive, those individuals. Not that many, it was only 350, but aside from that, of the puts, there's a consensus for it to be sub roughly around $2. So obviously, like I said, the risk versus reward is very much in favor of upside. And just briefly looking right here, so with it closing at $2.50, still within this S2 to this S1, so 243 is a very strong support and has continued to hold for the last 2 weeks. It did break below it temporarily for a day and a half, but still this S2 seems to be holding up like a champ, and it did bounce off of that general area once again even today. $2.64 will be that next strong target. So tomorrow there isn't any data points coming out, rather it's going to be kicking off on Wednesday, so tomorrow's going to be more of a technical day as well. And as I brought up already, Lucid's technicals are looking fairly good behind the scenes, but still watch $2.64 because during the tail end of last week it did bounce off of that general area as well, so that's also equally a very strong resistance point. Aside from all that fun stuff, it did attempt to transition into the higher percentile, not really enough to keep it there. I think in reality it's probably just going to be staying within the set range up until their upcoming earnings, and then dependent on what they do say and give for future guidance, that is either going to project Lucid above the $3 range or below that key pivot of $2.26. So it might just kind of be stuck in limbo for the foreseeable future. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts if you have been averaging down with Lucid, or what have you been doing? Aside from my purchase at $2.40, I haven't been doing all that much with Lucid. And also on a side note, I know I do typically Lucid videos every single day under this channel. I was thinking about making a whole new channel dedicated just to Lucid, because I do feel that a lot of Lucid investors don't necessarily watch Rivian videos, Polestar, NEO, like every stock like has its own fan base. So obviously under this channel, majority is Lucid. I think that's probably one of my biggest followers for the most part. So I was thinking about making a whole new channel. If you are interested in doing that, like let me know if you think that's a good idea, and what would the name be. I'll definitely humor whatever's put in the comments below. I can kind of make that tonight and kick that off as early as tomorrow. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.